Hey tarot friends, it's Dustin from A Modern Metaphysic Man, and Happy New Year. I cannot believe that it is already 2020. It blows my mind. And if you're like me, you're probably wondering, where are the flying cars, right? Back to the Future told us we would have flying cars. The Jetsons told us we would have flying cars. We don't have flying cars. I'm a little disappointed. But who knows, maybe Elon Musk will figure that out pretty soon. So today I thought we could hang out and take a trip through my top 5 tarot decks of 2019. All of these decks were either printed or published in 2019, and they're decks that really gave me a new, deeper understanding of the tarot in some way, or ones that really challenged me or that I just really deeply connected with. Last year I did a video like this that was a little similar, and I just kind of did new to me decks, so they necessarily weren't decks that were published in that year. But this year I wanted to stay true to that sort of top 5 of the year. So these are the top 5 decks to me for 2019. And if you're new to my channel, thanks for stopping by and checking it out. We talk about all things occult, metaphysical, and especially a lot of tarot and oracle. So if you enjoy the video, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and click the little notification bell so you don't miss any future videos that I upload. So before we dive into this, remember, in the description box below, you'll find all of my social media links and a link to my personal website where you can connect with me and even book a personal reading. And down there, I will also list out all of these decks, where you can get them if they're still available. And I'll put links up here in this corner to reviews of these decks if I have done them. If I haven't done a review of it, I will move them up my to-do on my review list, and we will get those up as soon as possible. So without further ado, let's dive into my top 5 decks of 2019. So at number 5 we have the Majestic Earth Tarot. This is a pretty recent release in the tarot world. It's by the same deck creator that did the Tarot Delphi. The whole deck is basically landscapes. There are a few cards that have figures and things in them, but for the most part, it's a landscape deck. It's really, really well done. The cardstock is beautiful. The deck is gilt. The backs are really lovely. But this deck has just been one that I have found has been giving me really good like meditative tarot readings. Like it's a great deck to sort of like path work with and just really get like good sit down and like have a chat with the tarot readings. I've just really been drawn into the imagery that has been used in this deck, and it's just exceptionally beautiful and exquisite in every way, shape, or form. And I'm so happy that this came into my life in the end of the year. And it's just quickly become one of those decks that I reach for over and over again. At number 4, we have the True Black Tarot, which has been one of those decks. This is the back. It's black gilt, of course, and this is the title card. It's one of those decks that had a little bit of a rocky launch, but it is stunning. The cards in this deck are just beautiful, and there's something about it that I've been drawn to this deck whenever I have a very serious, very deep question or reflective sort of reading that I need to do. It's just something that really has become a very personal deck for me, and this card is just absolutely gorgeous. I adore this deck. The aesthetic of it is just absolutely amazing. I cannot say enough good things about this deck, and I immediately connected with this deck. It challenges me. It makes me push my intuitive side of my readings, and it also makes me push my sort of rote historical sort of book learned side of my readings. And so I love it. And the quality of the deck is exceptional. It's done on that rose petal finish cardstock. The cardstock is like super thick. It's just amazing. Look at this. Look at how beautiful this deck is. So I definitely had to include this deck in my top 5 for the year. Coming in at number 3, we have the Splendor Solace Tarot. Now this has been one that I haven't really talked about much on the channel. I think I mentioned it in a couple of coffee and cartomancies, but it's one that's really become a go-to study deck for me, actually. It's exceptionally well printed. It's beautiful. The backs are lovely. The Splendor Solace is a alchemical manuscript, and the deck is taken basically 100% from that manuscript. The artwork is absolutely beautiful and stunning. As you can see, there's like a gold gilding frame on the cards, which is really lovely. It's a beautiful deck that really is not beginner friendly. I'll put that out there. And it's one that's really challenged me in learning more about the Kabbalah, and learning more about astrology, and learning more about alchemical representations and symbolism and things like that, especially in an art historical perspective. It's absolutely stunning and beautiful. The book that comes with it is fantastic, and I love it. And the one thing that I really love about it is the minors are very pippish. As you can see, they each have the Tree of Life on them, and they each have basically like the alchemy of, and then the minor card, and then the elemental association with that card then highlights on the Tree of Life what that card is associated with. So here we have the alchemy of the Six of Pentacles with the Earth symbol, etc. And then when we look at, say, for example, a Cups card, right? This is the alchemy of the Six of Cups. And as you can see, we have the water symbol. And then if we go to, let's say, a air card or a swords card, right? We now have the air symbol, which is cool. And the sort of the framing around them all does change slightly every once in a while, so that's pretty cool. There's just a lot of symbolism in this deck, and it's not even one that I fully understand. It's one that I'm still very much learning, but the book is just wonderful, and it's full of tons of information, which honestly, I would love an expanded book for it. I think it's one of those decks that you could spend years learning with. But I've just absolutely fallen in love with it. It flew under my radar for a long time, and then I saw it and I snatched it up. So this is the Splendor Solace Tarot. At number 2, we have the Revival Art Tarot by Taroko Studios. This deck it's beautiful. I've talked about this deck quite a bit on my channel and over on the Three Fat Readers channel. It's one of those decks that I instantly connected with as soon as I got it. It is a deck that I have found to be very approachable. It very much follows the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith system. I think it's just a really beautiful take on the classic RWS Tarot. The cards are really well thought out. Like, some of the imagery, a lot of the imagery on the cards are all very, very well thought out, right? Here we have the Ten of Wands. You have this woman who's climbing up a hill with a bundle of some sort of harvest on her back. She's got a baby sheep wrapped around her leg, and this goat is like pouncing on her, right? Like, so obviously she's got some burdens, right? You know, same with the Nine of Wands, right? The Nine of Wands is often referred to as like the battle is not yet over. You know, you've sort of been through a lot of stuff, and you have a lot more to go through. And here we have, like, you know, this battle warden older gentleman who's still in his army clothes, and you know, he's like, all right, let's finish this. It's just beautiful. It's just a really beautiful deck with really excellent choices for artwork. The guidebook does a good job of describing a lot of stuff. It doesn't dive into the artwork too much, but it's a great deck, and I have done a full review of this, so if you are interested, you can check that out. I will link it up in the cards for sure. But yes, this has been one of my go-to decks just for just when I need like quick readings and answers to quick questions. I've used it quite often throughout the year for daily polls and things like that. I love the cardstock to death. It's just amazing. And so when I was picking decks for this video, I instantly grabbed this one. It was the first one that I grabbed. I was like, I have to include this deck because it's amazing. Now, my number one deck is a deck that wasn't originally published in 2019. It was republished in 2019, and it was a deck that I drooled over for some time because it combines a lot of things about my aesthetic and my love of the tarot into like one sort of place, and that is Le Tarot Noire. It is a beautiful deck that was out of print for a long time. The cards are very large, as you can see. Don't be deceived by my big hands. But it is done in the Tarot de Marseille tradition. It is an absolute beautiful work of art from a French artist. And it is just one of those decks that I have absolutely fallen in love with. The aesthetic is absolutely gorgeous. The cards are really large. It's printed on a glossy cardstock with gold gilding. The card quality is great. I don't have any super complaints. It would be nice if it was a little bit more matte, but you know, I don't really care because it's amazing. It's an amazing deck. When I started learning, like really diving into the Marseille, I had a very general understanding of the Marseille for a few years now, but I really wanted to like master the Marseille this year. It was one of my 2019 tarot goals, which I should do a follow-up video on and do a 2020 tarot goals video. Maybe that will be something I'll add. But it was like really diving into the Marseille and mastering it and really reading it as its own system in the same way that I read, you know, Thoth versus RWS was one of my goals for 2019. And this deck has been one that has really helped me to achieve that goal and helped me to study Tarot de Marseille and really gain an appreciation for it, right? And it's just, it's helped me grow in that side of my tarot reading abilities exponentially. You know, it's absolutely beautiful. The artwork is amazing. It's very modern while at the same time being very classic. It's great. I actually went through Yoav Bendov's books with this deck this year, and it was just absolutely amazing. I highly recommend it. Definitely my favorite deck of 2019 because I mean, when I say I looked for this deck over and over and over and over again, I am not kidding. This deck, there's just something about the artwork that's 100% my aesthetic, and I love it so much. I just instantly connected with it. It was one of those things where I saw it and I was like, yep, I need that. There's no question in my mind how much I need this deck right now. And I love it. I love the larger cards, which I know isn't everyone's favorite. I love it so much that this is one of two decks that I have a backup deck of. And yeah, I really love it. So those are my top 5 tarot decks of 2019 and why they made the cut. I hope you enjoyed this short little video going over that. I am going to do an oracle one as well, so be sure to stay tuned for that. And yeah, thank you all so much for coming to hang out with me and check out these decks. Like I said, if I have a review of it, I will put it in the description box below, and I'll make sure I throw them into the info cards. And if I haven't done one, I will move them up to the top of my list so that you guys can check them out in their entirety, because they are some really amazing decks. Each one of these has challenged me in how I read the tarot and challenged me to learn and grow deeper with the tarot in this past year, and have been there for some really amazing tarot readings, both just in coincidental sort of like whoa moments, and in times when I just really needed to reflect on things. So each one of these has just been a huge game changer. And even Majestic Earth, I haven't even had for that long yet, and it's just, I reach for it all the time now. So check these out if you haven't checked them out. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and click the little bell if you enjoyed the video. And again, I appreciate all of you so much for coming to hang out with me and for making this community as amazing as it has been in 2019. And I look forward to seeing how much more we can grow in 2020. So thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart. And as always, remember, everyone is fighting a battle that you know nothing about. So be kind, always. Bye, everybody.